Multiplayer. Sorry, guys. Welcome everybody to another episode of Multiplayer. I am your host, Guillermo Dorado, and with me today are my lovely, lovely turtle disciples. We have right here next to me, Zach Mascanis.
Cowabunga!
And Javier Ortiz.
Got some pizza, bro?
Got some pizza, bro.
I was hoping you were going to go, my toes!
Fucking shredder! Anyway, so what you're probably wondering, why are they so excited about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Ninja Turtles.
Didn't you hear? It came out like 30 years ago.
It's true, yeah. We're going to be talking about a lot of good things, one of them being the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so stick around with that. We also have some unfortunate news about some companies buying other companies and procreating a shitty thing. So, anyways, welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to know that you can also listen to us on our podcast, which is on Google Play and iTunes. And if you are listening to this on iTunes, well, guys, you can take this on the go to the bathroom, which is mainly where I do all my YouTube watching, because we have a YouTube channel. So go ahead and look that up. It's youtube.com/multiplayer. And also, we do have a Patreon page where we do give extra content for those people who are kind enough to donate to our cause to make the show bigger and better. One of the incentives just from the get-go is you get 2 extra videos straight for that month. Yeah. Every other week, we have an exclusive video on Patreon, on our Patreon page, and then a week later, we actually dole it out to the masses because we don't want to exclude anybody, but we do play favorites.
Yeah.
We play favorites.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. Anyways, so moving on, guys. You know what? Since we opened with the show, I think that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Injustice 2, NetherRealm's latest fighting game, kind of strayed away from Mortal Kombat for a while. Now they're doing the whole DC superheroes fighting each other. They just got a third DLC where they're introducing a couple new characters. We have the Atom. Who cares? Enchantress, don't give a shit.
They're awesome.
Also, the fucking
Turtles,
TMNT,
they
dude.
highlight that DLC.
Holy
it's
shit!
So cool.
The trailer dropped recently, just last week, and it shows this Raiden getting his shit rocked by Adam, and then Enchantress and Adam fucking going toe to toe, and then they're interrupted by who is it? Donatello?
It's Raphael with his side.
That's right, it's Raphael. Yeah.
And he's like walking in his trench coat. And
it's
so cool.
Like that
but
trailer's
it's so slow.
great.
It takes like 30 minutes for him to walk up. He's like, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a turtle. Good joke.
Man, that trailer's
I get one bad joke every show. What are you saying?
I mean, that trailer's just so good, mostly because of the trench coats. It's like
classic.
It's just so classic Turtles. You're like, it's like, thank you, NetherRealm. You understand the Turtles. It's like just that little just touch, and just like Raph being the one to sort of walk up first. He's like, oh man, this looks great. I've been looking for a fight, or whatever he says.
Yeah, I think he's like, this looks like a lot of fun, or like, why don't we join in, something like that.
And then Donatello is like, hold on, we fight as a team. So it's like insinuating that you're gonna have like a Tekken tag team situation.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like.
Which I'm down.
I hope they're all individual though.
Me too.
I don't know if they put the extra work in for each turtle to have an individual. I don't mind if like their ultimate is all the same.
Sure.
Okay, like all
well,
of them
it's probably
show
like
up,
kind of like the same way that Smash did with the Pokemon Trainer. It's
right,
like
all
like
the
a triple.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
Right.
they all come in together to just do a lot of ass.
I don't mind
which
that.
I can't wait. Actually, I didn't even think about that. I can't wait to see their finishing move for the turtle. That'd be fucking dope.
I hope they use all their vehicles. Which is like the bus comes in, they get hit with the bus, they fly up in the air, the turtle blimp comes by, and like Donatello hits him with the staff in the face.
I want Shredder to make an appearance. That's what I kind of want. That'd be dope.
Dude, I want the van to show up and just to launch like manhole covers. That's crazy because they did that. But it makes sense that the turtles are an injustice.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, DC, or was it last year? It was either this year or last year. DC had a crossover with the turtles. Where I have the
Batman game. I mean,
was it a comic book?
Yeah, Batman crosses over with the turtles, and I have
really
the number one. I think it's the GameStop variant that I have, and it's him and the turtles, and it's so cool.
You should check that comic out. It's actually really, really good.
Really, you've already read it?
Have you?
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I don't know what. I think it was like 12
issues?
12
it might have been, yeah.
I think there's something right in there.
Yeah, it might be.
But it's really,
yeah.
It's really good.
Dude,
hell yeah! I mean, I'm down for both of those things. I love.
Have you ever seen the original Turtles comic book?
No, I saw the original live-action films though.
Well,
those were my jam.
Those are amazing in of itself. But
amazing.
the original comics for the Turtles are, and not to stray away from video games, they're really good.
Yeah.
Because they're drawn black and white, and they actually look like badass ninjas. Like,
and
it's really
they kill
fun.
people. And
it's for fun.
Well,
dude, it's so good. And the story's really good, because, like, the reason why Shredder hates Splinter is because he's a old foe.
A dirty rat.
No, he's an old foe of Shredder's from Japan.
Yeah.
From
Oh
Japan.
yeah, we knew that was in the. Oh no, in the movie he's actually a rat. Like he's like he was a rat and then became sentient and then taught turtles how to fight.
Yeah, that's not how.
Which I'm okay with as well, because it's just as ridiculous. But like that's still.
No, I mean check out the old turtle comics, and the artwork by itself is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I love all those old comics, and they're just like way darker and grittier. Which that's how I like. Me personally, that's how I like all my comics and games and stuff. It's like I like Batman gritty. I like the Turtles gritty.
Sure.
It's like
wait a second. Did the Turtles start out as a comic book?
Yeah. It started as a comic.
You didn't know that? I didn't know that. I thought it was a show
you're
first.
like some gross '90s kid, so
You are too.
I'm not.
Are you? Wait.
'80s, son.
Late
That's right.
80s.
That's
Come on.
right.
Still '80s.
Ladies.
Ladies.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that was a comic book at first.
Dude,
So that makes it's really appropriate.
Yeah, and then they made the cartoon, which like the cartoon's great in its own.
Yeah, dude, fucking man, I'm like blanking on the names, but the brain, the
Krang.
Krang, yeah, it hangs out the belt of that fucking weird dude.
And Uncle Phil voiced the Shredder.
Did he
Fresh
really?
Prince. Yeah, that's Uncle Phil.
Oh my god, he always sounded like this. It was like
I'm
the worst.
dining on turtle soup. I fucking love the turtles, man. It's
Like
just
that
so
is
cool.
the worst voice acting I think I've ever heard for
man,
that character.
I love Uncle Phil.
Oh, man.
He's
Uncle
just
Phil.
Like, he's like, Will!
Well, he just yelled at Will Smith the entire episode. It was great.
He just Shredder plays Uncle Phil.
Yeah,
That's really what it
The
is.
same character.
So Injustice 2 is getting that unique kind of brand of characters. Now this isn't not the first time that they brought in unoriginal DC characters into their universe. They have Raiden, they have Sub-Zero from the Mortal Kombat universe into this game already, and they also brought in Hellboy on the last DLC.
Yeah, which
Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do have
Predator.
Predator. That's right. Wait, no, that was the first game. I looked at the roster before we started the show, and I didn't see Predator on Injustice 2.
Oh wait,
Wait,
that
I
was
thought Predator was
MKX.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
Yeah, never mind.
dumb.
That's sorry. It's NetherRealm. I'm mixing them up.
Don't give excuses. You gave wrong facts.
It's
That's my
NetherRealm.
job to give the wrong facts.
You're right. Sorry about that.
Well, actually.
No, yeah. So it's not the first time that they've done this, but this is definitely like the first time that it's affected us to this degree. I mean,
Yeah. And Injustice 2 by itself is already an amazing fighting game. Like Injustice 1 and 2, hands down, are like some of the best fighting games that have come out in recent years. Like they're really good. And like Injustice 2, now that you can like mod up your character with like, special abilities, special armor and stuff, you can kind of customize them for online gameplay. Oh, dude, doing that with the turtles, it'd be so cool.
Dude, I just man.
I just appreciate the attention to detail in that game.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
lot.
Yeah, and it's just like you look at those turtles, and even in that trailer, it's just like you could just tell how much love and care they have for. Like they look so right. The way they
the
animated
monstrosities
them,
that Michael Bay made.
those weird, horrid creations.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying. Which, to give him some credit, I'm sure that they would look
They're
that
mutant
terrifying
They're
in real life.
turtles. It makes sense.
But that's not the turtles I know.
Yeah, no.
Those aren't the ones I remember.
Yeah, dude.
If anything, I wish that there's like an unlockable skin for the turtles where they actually look like carbon copies from the live action films.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Like they just rip that straight into the game.
From the 90s ones?
Yeah.
Some weird puppet looking.
Yeah, fucking
things.
awesome. Don't talk like this. It's just oh man, I love that movie.
I know.
Those two movies actually. I don't
3.
remember-
There's a third one.
There is a third one.
They go to Japan.
We don't recognize the third one though. We
We
forgot
barely
now.
recognize the second one. It's like,
Is the second one where they go back in time to like feudal Japan?
that's the third one.
That's the third
That's
one.
the third one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the third one.
Ah, okay.
The second one, they're running around giving people wet willies the whole
Yeah.
movie. It's just like, what
Yeah.
happened?
Kicking ninjas' asses in subway stations.
And
You
then
know
there
the funny? This is going off topic, but the very first time I ever watched those live action films was like when my older sister was in like karate at the time, and so like I wasn't old enough to be in the class, but I would sit in the waiting room or like whatever that little holding area is, and they only had those movies on VHS there, which was like so appropriate. So my sister's like learning Shotokan, and I'm like, yeah,
It's the
watching them
epitome
get their ass
of the
kicked.
90s. It's just the turtles.
Yeah.
Like that. When you say 90s, the turtles come up. I mean, they took over. They even had the TV show
Oh yeah.
with they had the lady turtle. I forget her name. She had the light
Lurtle.
blue. Lurtle.
Yeah. Myrtle the turtle.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Like an S, right?
I don't know. I don't remember her name.
She had like magic powers.
Yeah.
It was just like, what is happening?
She did have
here?
magic, but she had the light blue mask.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Okay.
But yeah, she was the Lurtle.
It might have been Lurtle.
Lurtle.
Anyways, so yeah,
Blastoise was one of them.
So yeah, I mean, it sounded like you guys were super excited. Like when we first brought this up before the show started to roll, you guys were like flipping out.
Of course,
so
man.
happy.
So does this mean you're gonna buy it? Or is this the?
I'm waiting for Injustice 2 to come out with like the complete edition that has like all the DLC, and then I'll pick it up.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's how I kind of am with fighting games, except for Smash Brothers, where I'm like, in a year there will be a complete edition that's like $30 on sale. I'm like, all right, I'll pick it up now. And
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
typically how I am. But it's like, if the Turtles come out before that complete edition, day one. It's like I need the Turtles in my life.
When you think about it,
That's
the
it.
last time the Turtles were in a good fighting game, Turtles in Time. It's just
and like
been so
and
long.
The Tournament Fighter, the Turtles Tournament Fighter game.
Yeah.
It was dope.
But I'm saying the
Have
last.
they made an appearance outside of like their own like game in a while?
Like
have they
a
ever
guest?
done that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Like
it's interesting.
Not that I
No.
can think
NetherRealm,
of.
man, bringing it back.
Well, it
I
makes
like
sense because DC did a crossover earlier, in the comics. So they were probably just like, "You want to put him in a fighting game?" DC was like, "Sure." So,
That's how the meeting went down.
I mean, you're
yeah.
banking off nostalgia. And you're just like, that comic sold pretty well. Yeah, let's put him in the game.
Yeah.
That's
People
really
are
dope.
losing their shit.
You know who I would love to see? He's another comic book character. I don't think he never crossed over with DC, but who I would love to see in that game would be V for Vendetta, or V from V for Vendetta.
Oh yeah, it's Dark
That would be
Horse.
kind of awesome. Yeah,
that would be badass.
Or just any Alan Moore character as a fightable character in that Injustice.
Yeah, Swamp Thing, dude.
I just want some of the Watchmen characters.
Right.
It's like,
They're crossing over currently.
Yeah,
in
and
DC.
that's DC. So it's like
That's right. Yeah,
I would love like Rorschach in that game. It's like that would be awesome.
Yeah.
He's not much of a fight. He's a bro. Yeah, he brawls.
Yeah,
He's a fighter. He
Yeah,
can fight.
And he
more of a
kills
detective.
like
He's a
everybody.
scruffy detective.
It's just like really deadly Batman. It's like you do not want to mess with that guy. He
Yeah,
won't
dude.
just come over with a meat cleaver and hit you in the face.
Jesus.
That's what he reminds me of this character, the Question from DC, where he's like a hardcore detective. He's a really good fighter, and he wears this mask of just a blank face. It's like skin color, but there's nothing there.
That's
so imagine my
terrifying.
face with nothing.
It's like face
I
off.
do all the time.
It's like Face Off.
Except they just stopped after they took the faces off.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
no, that's good. We'll keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I've only played Injustice 1. I've seen gameplay and I've watched friends play Injustice 2, but
Second
nothing.
one's really good.
Is it really? Is
It is.
it much
It's
better?
really good.
I mean, I just enjoy, like I said, the details of like having the characters like come in and introduce themselves and like kind of have that little banter.
Yeah, their
and it changes
interactions.
depending on which characters are fighting each other.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and definitely the Turtles is going to be a huge incentive for me
yeah.
as well. So
I wonder what they're gonna say when they fight Batman. If they're gonna be like, we were fighting together like a few months ago, Bats. What's up?
yeah.
Then they sound like they're from Brooklyn.
Well, you're so salty. Do bats eat turtles? I don't know. Anyways,
No, they don't.
so
They're-
probably not. They should.
They eat fruit, dude.
Not all of them. Some's like blood. Guys, we're getting off topic. So,
There's probably
now
some
that-
sort of bat that eats some sort of turtle. There's a lot of animals out there.
Please like, subscribe, and comment if you know of that bat species down below. So no, I think moving on from that though. I mean, we were really excited to get that out of the way. It's out of the way.
I don't want to
No,
move on from
no,
it.
we gotta. We gotta.
Turtles.
We can talk about the Switch. You love the Switch.
I do, but they don't have Ninja Turtles.
They might.
Maybe someday.
So the Switch just released a new app where they're gonna have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Well,
actually, Switch.
it might.
That is actually true. Yeah, they finally Nintendo is answering the call to all the people, all the consumers saying like, "Hey, where are our streaming services? What the hell's going on?" They're like, "We hear you, Hulu." There you go. Back in the 9th of November, they finally released the streaming app Hulu, which is, to me, kind of feels like a soft start for their streaming services. They already had like the Nico Nico, which was like the Japanese like app that was basically a YouTube, but it was only exclusive in Japan.
Yeah.
So like that was, I guess, like their beta testing. But I mean, now they're like, all right, holiday season's around the corner. Here's Hulu. Hopefully that will be kind of some incentive for people to start buying the Switch on a more general level as outside of gaming.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, like that could potentially lead to a lot of a lot of things that we've been fucking wanting out of the
Yeah,
system, like Netflix and YouTube and
that.
everything.
I was expecting in 2018, when they roll in their internet service for $20 a month, and then a lot of streaming stuff would come along with it. But it's nice to see it early because Hulu is probably. I wouldn't say it's more. It might be more successful than Netflix.
I wouldn't think so.
Well, it's up there. It's definitely like
because you get a lot of broadcast television. That's the thing. So it may,
and they
that's
actually
the
have
only
like
reason.
a version now with like live TV.
Oh really?
Hulu. Yeah, I think it's like $40 a month or something like that.
Ooh,
well, I think it's weird. I understand if it's like a soft start for them because I feel like if Nintendo has to worry about anything with their console, I think it is the fact that they don't want it to be confused with just another tablet.
Yeah.
And I think the more services they add and like throw onto it, that's kind of like straying in that territory. But I feel like this is good. That's a great move on their part. And if they start to bring out like Netflix and all these other streaming apps, and like even if they put Spotify, that's like untapped potential.
Well, they're attacking the mobile market so well because it's like, hey, here's this this system that can play AAA titles, and you can also watch Hulu.
That's literally how they like presented it too. They didn't like there was no like big announcement for Hulu or anything. It was just like, here it is.
Yeah, you want to play you want to play Doom on the go, Mario Odyssey on the go, Wolfenstein 2 on the go, you can. And when you're done, you
watch
can
the
watch
community.
Yeah, you can watch Hulu or whatever you want, which is awesome. Like because when you think about it, people have jobs where they might just sit around and they could have stuff on their phone. You can have a Switch, which is bigger screen, better quality, looks nice.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully, I think that we're all in agreement that they should start, getting the streaming apps and stuff because it's
coming.
Console that's ripe for it.
Yeah.
But we're just figuring out what the hell's going on.
This is still year one. It still hasn't been a year since this thing's been out. So
yeah, Nintendo was just like, and I was just like listening to a podcast. They were talking to this Hulu guy that works at Hulu, and he was just like, it pretty much could have been ready at the start, but it's just like Nintendo was focused on. The gaming side of things first. Mm-hmm. It's like they just wanted to get that worked out. The console's doing well now. It's like, okay, now let's start those talks and get this stuff worked out. So it's just like Hulu's there now. I'm sure Netflix is coming real soon, and I'm sure all
probably
those apps
Disney's
are
new streaming app as well.
And it's like, and everybody knows the Switch is doing well. So it's like, of course Netflix is going to want to put an app on there. Yeah, I'm sure Spotify is going to want an app. I mean, it's like.
I'm hoping they can get a browser as well.
It's technically there.
Is it?
Yeah, there's like a workaround to get to the browser. It's technically there.
Wait, is it still Opera?
No, it's like
okay, good because that was dumb. You're an avid user of Opera.
I use Opera.
What?
Yeah.
It's got a built-in VPN.
The hell's a VPN?
You don't know what a VPN is?
I've heard of it.
It's a virtual private network. It basically it guards your like online searching so that companies can't track it and it can't be
Does it though?
Yes, that's what a VPN does.
It basically like it sort of
it's harder for them to track down what you're searching and what you're looking at.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you don't want them to know what kind of seedy things you're looking up.
No, it's more about privacy.
Yeah.
Because you have a right to privacy. And the thing is that's why net neutrality is going way off topic. That's why net neutrality is very important. Just saying, please vote for net neutrality. But essentially, VPN is like you go online, and you know how like Facebook, the cookies and shit, it picks up what you're looking at. VPN does that where other websites aren't, and like Google and stuff, they can't as easily track what you're doing and what you're searching so that they can sell it to you and stuff.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
It is. It's essentially
like an Xbox
more
should do
privacy.
That. God, so they can stop attacking people with their their ads.
Yeah, that's the issue
ads.
with the internet nowadays. I mean, it's just like the ads are so huge and everyone's tracking what you're looking at and what you might be interested in. So it's just. That's why VPNs are super important, and net neutrality. Please vote for it.
Well, that's the lovely thing about Switch, man. There's none of that. Like, I mean, like the only ads we're getting is from the Nintendo News Network, at least as of right now. But until they start introducing right now, start introducing that, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's good news for people who are more casual gaming side that want everything out of their console. I know that the Switch, the reason people weren't buying it really was because. And a lot of people that go for Xbox because it's more media friendly. Like there's more things like I can get my ESPN this. It's more accessible. So hopefully that'll open the doorway to those gamers as well.
Yeah. Well, the thing I see with it is like I never really cared too much. It's nice to have it if it's there, but it's like you can get that on anything now. It's like you can watch it on your phone. You got smart TVs, PS4, Xbox. your laptop. It's like I could probably pick up my cat and watch it on my cat. It's like
that new cat TV.
It's just one of those things like, and Nintendo's always kind of been like this, where it's just like I remember in the GameCube days when, the Wii was coming out, and the person in charge of PR at the time for Nintendo America, when she had like an interview, somebody was asking her like, why can't you play DVDs in the Wii? And she was just like, because everything plays DVDs nowadays. It's like you can go to a yard sale and get a $20 DVD player. So why do we need to put it in our system?
It's more about the accessibility and like the convenience.
Yeah.
You know, everyone wants like to just reduce all like the clutter, like the cords and stuff behind their TV and less remote. So it's just like one thing that does it all. That's kind of what everyone wants.
Nintendo's all about the games for the most part, and it's like
all that kind of stuff just at this point. So
all that stuff just comes later.
Yeah.
For Nintendo.
I know, and like I think as a mobile device, it's doing really well, and I think that it's definitely the forefront. It definitely has a couple things to show still. I think that they're like on the coming year, it's going to like really start to blow some minds. But it's going over into mobile gaming though. I want to bring up a game that released actually October 26th recently. It is a mobile game basically called Bury Me My Love. Now, what is interesting about this game is that you play in an interesting fashion. So, like, the game itself is not like a regular, like your Angry Birds or whatever. The actual game is more of an SMS-based text game, kind of in the same style as Localhost when we talked about that ago, right? Except in this game, the storyline is you play Maj, which is the husband of your wife, who's Noor, and she's trying to escape from Syria, where they live in Syria, home, that city, because it's ravaged by the Syrian civil war that's happening right now. It's been going on for the past 7 years. And she's trying to make her way safely over to Europe to basically find safe haven. And the entire time, you are staying back, your character is staying back in Syria, kind of guiding her through text messages, trying to help her out get her way safely to her destination in Europe. And it's really interesting because this plays in like a pseudo real time. So it is just text-based. You're just texting your wife essentially back and forth and like making those decisions, helping her out. But when she's like, says like, okay, hey, I'm gonna go get on this bus, or something more strenuous happens, like, oh my God, there's a shooting happening or something like that. It goes offline. Like she doesn't text back even though you're trying to get a hold of her, and so you actually have to wait. Sometimes minutes, sometimes hours.
Like real time.
Real time to even hear back from her to see if she's actually okay. And like. This game is so interesting and unique to me because it's a really impressive and immersive way to basically explain the passage of a refugee and what they have to do in order to get themselves out of a really terrible environment, and what that process is like going to different countries that are surrounding and being affected by the Syrian civil war as well. And then also it's an incredibly immersive way too, because at certain points as I'm picking these text dialogue choices, I feel incredibly involved and like worried for my wife, because I feel like if I made a decision where she, like, hey, you're gonna miss your bus, why don't you just take a cab instead? It's a little risky, but it's not a big deal. And then that ends up like turning out to be a bad choice. Like she gets into trouble. I feel responsible. It's like, oh my God, I told her to do that. It's a really interesting game, and it's fascinating, and it kind of just we talked about missing on this show before, and it's just. And we talked about last week too, or a couple weeks ago, about how mobile games are kind of becoming a more experimental a platform for games. Mm-hmm. And this is like, wow, it is blowing my mind, like the things that some developers are doing.
Taking real life situations and putting you in the middle of like how would it feel to be a refugee in a war-torn country. That's pretty incredible. It's pretty amazing. And so like, but can you choose what you type? Does it?
That's the one thing that I have a problem with the game. So like, I don't think we're in an age where we're technologically advanced enough to actually have an AI who is smart enough to be able to converse without having like preordained or be able to work around the way that you text. So no, I'm not able to actually like text my own personalized responses. I'm picking between my three options, which I can either send an emoji, I can either send a picture, or I can send a text dialogue choice, and they give you like 2 or 3 every now and then, and so it kind of goes back and forth from that. But even then, even still, when you can't pick that, it's a small nitpick that I have of the game.
Right, and it makes sense it makes sense that they have
it needs to be on rails to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, you can't just be like, show me your titties.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like,
you know.
I think the developers like definitely saw that coming. They, not everyone is going to necessarily be respectful of the game or the content, or even be willing to role play enough to like progress the story further. Some people might be more interested in like, so who are you? Like, how's your day been, or whatever. Gamers always find different weird.
I do like the emoji thing. She's like, "There's a shooting, kitty face."
Well, I mean, yeah. They also give you like a certain amount of emoji you can choose, but you can. I didn't choose it, but you can choose the, which is like, what a fucking understatement. Like, I was like, gee, that's a terrible
Home Alone face.
Oh no, no, but. It is a serious problem. This is the Syrian refugee or the Syrian civil war that's happening, and this is a very unique way to spread awareness on a massive scale, especially since mobile games themselves are so popular, especially with young adults and young kids. That's like their first foray into gaming, and to be able to play a game that is as involved, as immersive, and as educational about a real world problem that's happening right now.
Yeah, I love this age that we live in, and it's just like it's following the lines of like indie filmmaking, where it's just like a crew of people are just like, let's make a movie about this because that's never really been done before, or no one's talking about it. And you see video games following that trend where like something like this is super, and I'm not a game designer at all, but I'm assuming it's a very easy game to make if you're tech savvy. So it's like, let's just make a game that invokes dialogue about a serious problem in today's world, and people can, it's totally, is it free? Is it a free game?
It's $2.99 on the it's only for iOS. It was just released on the 26th of October. This is their first game, which the developers, by the way, it's an indie French development group. They're Pixel Hunt and Fig. And they went into conjunction with this, along with a multitude of different charities, including the Syrian Fund.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's it's only a couple bucks.
Exactly, yeah, but it's for a good cause, and you're educating on this. You're getting educated about this real problem, and I think too, like, it is one of those things where. Like indie filmmakers, like a lot of like the subjects they pick are like usually like, why aren't people more affected by this, or why isn't more attention going to this thing?
Why are we talking about this?
Exactly, and these developers chose a unique route to do that, and it's like we all know about the Syrian. We've all scrolled through, we've all seen the news, or even on our Facebook pages we see those like terrible things that are happening like in Aleppo and everything like that. But I don't think that people really understand the degree of what a refugee has to go through.
No.
And so this is a very unique way to be like, this is the process, and this is how terrifying it is. And at any moment, you could be traveling on a bus in between cities and then get caught in a crossfire, which is what happened about, like, just before we she's probably texting me right now. She's probably in trouble.
My wife.
Yeah, I know.
It's like right before we started, like, oh man, my wife texted me. Oh, oh no.
Yeah. She just saved a dude's life. It's crazy. It got shot with the in the arm. It's a really good game. It's very. I didn't realize how much I would get involved, but
that's cool though. It sucks you in, like it's.
Yeah, and I think it is because like there is an option too, like where you can have like a fast track where it can like be more instantaneous, like you don't have to wait hours, but that sucks the whole like that takes away from the experience.
Yeah, surprisingly, stepping away from the game makes it a little more immersive because it's like now it's more natural where it's just like
text message notification and it's
and it makes you more stressed out too because there's sometimes where
definitely sounds stressful. You're like hanging out with your buddies, you're at the bar, you're having a drink, and they're like, oh no, my wife, oh she's dying. Hey guys, I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta take this. I'm sorry.
It's so cool. It makes so much sense to make a game based off of text messaging.
Yeah.
Because text messaging has just like taken over. You think about like 10 years ago when texting just introduced, a little more than 10 years ago, but like when it was just first introduced, like nobody was doing it, and it just took off. And like now that's the only way people communicate now. So making a game based off of the number one way of communication in today's world just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this isn't the first game that was based off of a texting thing. There was another one called Lifeline, which is a different developer, and it's I believe it's 3Take. But it was essentially you are helping this student who, I didn't really do too much research into this because I read it and I was like, I prefer this one. It's more realistic, but you're helping out basically this student who is trying to go on some kind of like mission to the moon, and she ends up getting stranded out there like
On the moon?
On the moon.
Stranded?
Yeah, it said she was a student. I was like, I guess an astronaut student. I don't know, but
she's a student at NASA school.
Yeah, and she gets sent to the moon, and she ends up getting stranded out there. And I guess you're like, you're Houston, basically trying to help her out. It's
Bill Houston.
This is Gravity.
No. What's the other one?
Bullock.
But the one with Matt Damon.
Oh, Mars?
No.
It's just called Mars.
It's called Mars, dude.
Is it?
Yes.
No,
It's not called Mars.
The Martian.
That's it.
I was like, it's not called Mars.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Just
yeah, and
Mars.
so
Just
this
Mars.
isn't a new idea. It definitely it is a very easy game, at least to make, technically speaking.
Yeah.
It's involved in the whole narrative process, right? But this is not the first time it's been done. But this is the first time it's been done with a real world problem. And I think it's that much more effective, because it's happening right now. So I would highly recommend people to go and check out this game. It's only $2.99. It's for iOS devices. You can go on the App Store, download it real quick, and
What's it called again?
it's called Bury Me My Love.
Bury Me My... Okay.
Yeah, Bury Me My Love.
Sounds emo. Sounds like an emo song.
Bury me with my...
Sounds like a My Chemical Romance song, to be honest.
It is.
Bury Me My Love.
Yeah, it's actually the whole soundtrack's on My Chemical Romance.
Oh. You know what's funny about...
Yeah.
it's just real quick. Gerard
Okay.
Way, the singer for My Chemical Romance, he's a comic book writer for DC now.
What?
All ties back to DC. Yeah.
And he's the one that pitched the Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that was him.
I knew it.
Yep.
I knew it.
It all comes back to My Chemical Romance. Batman Forever called it, actually.
All right, guys. Well, moving on. So now we're going to be talking about a little thing that happened just last week. It was announced. We mentioned that on a couple shows previously that Visceral Games was shut down by EA, which was a branch of EA. They were in charge of doing the Dead Space series and all that good stuff. And they also had a Star Wars game that has now since been canceled after their...
Well, it's
that
shifted
brand
to their,
of Star Wars game.
Yeah, it's kind of shifted over to EA proper and some of their other studios, and it's just going a totally different direction.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same genre
multiplayer.
anymore. Yeah. But it was just announced that EA has filled that empty spot where Visceral used to be with Respawn.
Yeah.
The developers that left Activision in order to make Titanfall series, as well as the couple of VR experiences they're working on right now, and they're also working on basically an unannounced. Well, it's been announced, but like a Star Wars game that we don't know any details about.
Yeah.
So they have been bought out by EA for a total of $455 million, including incentives and everything. So it's about $400 million just to get them out. But then they also included if you do well with the Star Wars game and if you do well with the unannounced Titan 3, Metacritic scores are high, then we'll give you bonuses on top of that too.
Right.
Because they had to outbid Nexon. I have it written down here.
Exxon, actually.
Yeah, they had to outbid the gas company. No, Nexon, who is the publisher for the Titanfall mobile game.
Yeah.
Or the developer, I'm sorry, for the Titanfall mobile game. They outbid them, and now EA owns Respawn now. So
which is weird because they were the publishers of the Titanfalls.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand why
is.
I think it was just one of those things they had to snag them, kind of scoop them up before somebody else did.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those sort of situations. But it's just so weird that they just shuttered the doors of a big developer like Visceral, and then just let's just buy this other one now. And it's just
it's weird.
If I was the people from Visceral, people who got, so not everyone I'm sure got laid off, some were moved and resituated to other areas of EA, but if I was the person who got laid off and then saw that they bought Respawn, I would be fucking livid.
What the hell, man?
It's just...
Dead Space 4 would have been great! What the hell? Yeah.
But, it sounds like one of those things where it's just because I know Titanfall and Titanfall 2 didn't do well commercially. It didn't sell well.
Right.
It got great reviews.
And they're great games. Titanfall 2 is awesome.
Yeah, it's literally the team that started Call of Duty, and those guys they know their stuff, and they can make just a killer shooter, and it's they're just great games, and it's just but it's something where it's they put it it's the last game they put it out at the same exact week or 2 weeks of Battlefield and Call of Duty. I was like, why would you do that? Just give it
timing.
Give it a little room, man.
Yeah, they were an independent studio up until this buyout by EA. But I think where this was like being fueled from, or where this is coming from, is that I think EA just wants to have a contender for the online shooter experience. Blizzard's got Overwatch, Bungie's got Destiny. We have Activision has Call of Duty. I think they're like, well, these guys know what they're doing. Now it's time to make our version of Call of Duty, which is going to be.
I mean, they do. They have Battlefront.
Oh, that's right. They do have Battlefront too, and
Battlefield. Excuse me.
Actually, yeah. Then I don't know why. I don't know why they're buying this.
Maybe another one. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess time will tell what they plan to do with them.
Probably, yeah, exactly. Probably ruin them from the inside out.
They're going to make a first-person loot box game.
The only way to play is you literally just keep paying.
You submit your credit card info at the very beginning.
Yeah. They're going to build a new controller that you just like insert money into and you swipe
just
your card.
insert your card.
Yeah, it's just the square, the square thing for your iPhone. It's like, what the fuck?
It's basically going to be the arcade experience at home. You're just going to be pumping quarters into it.
Because who doesn't love nostalgia? Fuck. Yeah, so I'm to be honest, I'm a little worried, that EA is now taking Respawn, because Titanfall, I believe, already had microtransactions because it's published by EA. Mm-hmm. But now that EA controls Respawn, they have a lot more creative control on what they're doing exactly. The benefit is now the Titanfall games are going to get the commercial they deserve, or the marketing that they deserve.
Yeah, I think the next game, which they've pretty much announced at this point, that they're definitely doing a Titanfall 3.
Yeah.
I think like EA is going to just put everything behind it, and it might even be one of those things where it's like, and I would hope they would do it this way, where it's just like it's like this year's Battlefront, and then like next year's Battlefield, and then like the year after that is Titanfall 3, and then it goes back to Battlefront. And
makes sense.
It's like I think they should kind of be on a, it's like you can't put out two really online multiplayer shooter games from the same company within that holiday window they all want to hit. It's like every year you have like Battlefield or Battlefront
or Call of Duty
and Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. So it's like you don't want Titanfall and Call of Duty and Battlefield, because it's going to happen. It's the same thing that's going to happen like last time. Mm-hmm. I think it's something where it's just like you can't have three people in that, because it's like Titanfall is going to be pushed away every time.
Sure. Have you guys played any of their games, any Respawn's games? Have you played Titanfall?
No, I haven't.
You should play. I was privy to playing the second one recently. Really? My friend had it, and he was like, "Hey, try it out." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, fine." Because I was the same way. I was like, "It's another online shooter.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Who gives a shit?" That is one of the funnest first-person experiences I've had in a long time. Just the mobility of your character, and it makes sense within the universe, as opposed to like Infinity War, where you're just now all of a sudden you're soldiers with jetpacks. Yeah. In this world it makes sense. But the best part, more so than the mech, more so than like your gun or whatever, like the types of weapons that you can get, is just the pure joy of boosting off and onto a wall, sliding around, and then kicking some guy in the face.
Yeah, you got your like hook shot thing.
Oh yeah, dude, I didn't shoot my gun once, and I played that game for like 2 hours with my friend. He was like, you can get the weapons are cool. And I go, shut up, and I just like kept kicking people. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
I know, but so like we'll see what happen with Respawn in the future now that EA owns like the entirety of that company.
Yeah.
Not looking too good. I mean, especially since they are such a huge fan of microtransactions, and I mean now, microtransactions, the way that that's going, it's becoming such a staple for the industry that like even so far as Take-Two, which is the publisher that controls basically all the 2K games or 2K games, and then also fucking I'm blanking on the name, Rockstar. On Rockstar. And so they basically come out and said like every subsequent game under our branch, Red Dead 2s are all going to have microtransactions in them, which is big bad news for a lot of people.
Like, how's it going to be in Red Dead 2?
Well, it's going to be an online thing.
Oh, well, then
probably not. They'll probably have some.
But like not for the campaign. Like the campaign mode. Like, what are you going to do to make? You
walk into a saloon and it's just like,
want to buy this gun?
What are you having? And it's like, give me a whiskey. well, you got to buy this box first. What's in that
And
box? You're going to have to buy it and find out. It's
Might
a
be
random
whiskey,
drink.
might be a dead cat.
That's the fun of
Might
it.
be a new hat. It's like,
This is also a gambling establishment, so have a good time. I don't really know what the hell's going to go on with that, but like, we talked about microtransactions on the show before, and it's the most infuriating thing.
But it's so, like, online gaming nowadays, I don't understand. Like, it's hard enough playing lots of different online games. For me personally. Because, like, the only online game I play is Overwatch. And that's the only one I can dedicate time to. Because all the other games I like to play, like Odyssey and stuff, are single-player campaigns that I want to get through because I love the story, I love the gameplay. But investing time in an online game is like investing time in a community, investing time in playing with other people, and, like, team-based objectives and stuff. And for me personally, I think it's hard to, like, divvy up the time, like, with all these other ones. Like, let's say I like playing Overwatch. Well, Battlefront just came out. Well, now I got to play some Battlefront. The new Call of Duty just came out. Well, I got to play some Call of Duty because it's all online, and it's like you're sucking up time because you need to level up and get all the shit.
Sure.
So it's like, I'm just speaking for me personally.
Well, you don't have to. You could just buy all the stuff that you need to get good.
But that,
that's the beauty of it. You can save all that time.
I mean, the thing is, and 2K was, I'm going to paraphrase here, but they were saying in their investors meeting, they were talking about, like, online communities and stuff now, and it's one of those things. It's like everybody has, like, one game that they kind of go back to week to week, and, like, for me and for you, and you're kind of getting there now is Overwatch, where it's like, I've probably put 1,000 hours into Overwatch, but I'm also playing, like, Mario and Zelda and, like, all these single player games. But that's always, like, my junk food game that I go back to week over week, where it's just like,
right, you can just jump in and
just jump in. I'm like, I'm tired, but I'm not ready for bed yet. I have like an hour to kill, and my friends are on, so I'll just jump on there and play.
Sure.
And, like, everybody kind of has that game, whether it's like League of Legends or
like Dota.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, the difference between Overwatch and all these other ones are this loot box system. There's nothing to unlock in Overwatch except for skins and stickers.
Yeah, but it's still a say though.
Like that too.
No, I know, but I'm talking about, like, Battlefront and, like, Call of Duty and, like, the microtransactions. It's just like you can pay for all this extra stuff for your character so you can be good. And it's just like,
and I know that we give a lot of leeway to to Blizzard for their use of loot crates, loot boxes, what have you. But there are some gamers who are so strict as to not even purchase a game that utilizes that business model essentially. And for good reason, because, like, it just buying these games, even if you don't touch, you never pay actual money to buy a loot crate in game or any microtransactions, in-game purchases, whatever, what have you. It still lets the company know that, okay, our fans aren't writing us off yet, so we can keep doing this. And over the years, it's just like since 2006, we've just been seeing this, like, rapid surge of every game, every possibility. And, like, now in 2017, it's like it's peaked as of now. And, as of yet, I mean, sure, it might get worse, probably will.
Without it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, it's really showing these companies, developers, these publishers basically publishers, that this is a viable means to continue to make money, because we all can't be selling 30 million copies of a game that was released 5 years ago, like Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5.
GTA 5.
I'd be really interested in, like, especially if this was like a documentary. I'd love to look into, like, the business model of these developers and these publishers, and seeing what numbers is considered profit. When they make a game, they have their budget. What numbers in terms of sales is a profit, and what, like, in that profit margin, what they expect from, like, microtransactions or, like, DLC or, like, extra things that are bought outside of the $60 game purchase. Like that type of sales chart.
Yeah, I'm sure it used to be just like a nice little cushion for, like, okay, this game, we have a lot of confidence in it, but it took a lot of money to make, it took a lot of money to advertise. We'll just throw the microtransaction in there to kind of, like, cushion the blow just in case. But I think that's how it started off to be. Now it's just like, no,
they have
this
to
is going to be the majority of our
our
income. I mean, like, Ubisoft just released their yearly kind of, like, their financial report, where they said that over 50%, 51% of their sales, their profit of the year, was from in-game purchases, DLC, season passes, subscriptions.
That's
microtransactions. 51% of
insane.
A major company that makes AAA games, microtransactions was 51%. And to put that in perspective, dollars. $202.6 million motherfucking dollars they made off of people buying goddamn weapons and skins.
Is that
shit.
so? I don't know if you have this in front of you, but like that number compared to game sales is more. Because if it's 51%,
yes, it is more. It's 51%.
Wow,
it's over. It's more than game sales, more than digital sales, more than their digital game sales, more than Obviously, Jesus. I think the tier goes the lowest rung right now is actual like physical copies of games, digital sales, microtransactions.
Yeah, because you got to think about it this way, right? It's like when a company sells a game, like Ubisoft sells a game for $60 or 65 or whatever it is. Let's take like the Rabbids game for instance. It's like so they have to cut Nintendo a check. They take a certain profit from it.
Right.
They make a profit off of the actual cartridge because it's like that's Nintendo's like patented cards. So they literally have to pay to even like use those cards. Then they have to pay. It's like. Yeah, I mean it's mostly like that cut to like Nintendo for instance, but it's like. If they have DLC on top of that, it's like, as far as I'm aware anyways, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like, that's their cut. It's like, as soon as like...
Well, there are also transaction fees. So when they first introduced microtransactions, and I'm going to actually get to like a little bit of a history, I'm going to give you guys a couple of questions, answers. I won't give these answers away just yet, but there was a certain company that was like, should we do this? We could try it out and make the amounts low. And then but they didn't account for the actual transaction fees that it would cost to do that. So then the company that was in charge of this developer was like, you know what, we're going to do it this way. And they made it, like $10, $20 kind of purchases because then they could pay those transaction fees off and also get profit. Wow. So that's why we see like, in Blizzard's, in Overwatch right there, we see the biggest bang for your buck is like 50 loot crates for $40, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And it just gets the more you want to spend, the higher it gets. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to incentivize that because they want to outsource or to pay off the transaction fees and actually make a profit from it.
I wonder how much for these companies like each game sale. I wonder what's considered a profit because you've got your $60 game. I wonder if it's per unit sold, if like they can make $100 off this person that have spent $60 for the game, is that considered a profit? For that like individual, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, yeah, I mean profit by definition is if you make more than the cost of what you made.
But I'm saying like in the grand scheme of like how much they look at per copy sold, extra do they expect to be considered a profit? Because I'm assuming $60 isn't like you're not making a profit.
Sure.
At $60 a game, so you're expecting more from that person who paid $60.
Well, no, I'm sure that's why they put it there. I bet you that $60. If you're looking at a unit base, like if you're breaking it down by unit, I don't think actually you really can because their whole business model is projected off of the basis that millions of people are going to be buying their games.
Right.
But if you're breaking it down to a single person. Yes, I guess you're right. I guess $60 wouldn't necessarily cut it, but it's got to be marginal profit though. At best, it's got to be some sort of profit.
Right.
One person buys a game, it's going to be like maybe.
But like now they have because of the success of these transactions, microtransactions. Like, what do they consider a success? You know what I mean?
Well, the big thing now is like within especially like in the mobile world, they use this lingo a lot, but now it's sort of with the loot boxes now and bigger games. You have people called whales. And whales are essentially like, because you have like the normal everyday person where it's just like they buy a game and then they're like, or even like, a mobile game like Clash of Clans. Sure. It's like, they'll just play that game and maybe they'll buy.
This sounds like a setup to a really bad joke.
No, it's not. Okay. It's, maybe they'll spend $2 on something.
Sure.
But then you have the whales, and the whales are people that they spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on these games. They just can't. And that game is.
The thing is, those games are free, so it's less like, it's
but
like
it's the same concept where it's just like.
But I kind of feel like less
free
guilty
games,
for that.
Sure, but those free games do structure the game in a way that they really basically make you have to buy.
They want.
It's like you could.
There's a point where you can just stop and like you can't progress unless you.
Exactly that, or it's like some games are based off of like, oh, you have to wait a few hours, before this egg hatches or whatever the fuck. It's like, or you could spend real money to make it instant, take those 3 hours into 5 seconds, or whatever.
You know, that makes me think of like, what if you had a Pokemon game where you can drop, you know how you can drop Pokemon at the daycare center?
Yeah.
Like, what if there's a Pokemon game where it's like, you can drop your Pokemon at the daycare center. You could spend 2 hours walking up and down to make it grow EXP and levels. Or you could just slip us $5 and it goes up 10 levels.
You can just slip us $5.
You know, so it's like it's stuff like that. Like I would hate that if that was in a Pokemon game because you're taking away.
Well, it is. I mean, if you're playing Pokemon Go at least.
No, I'm talking about a legit Pokemon.
Okay.
Not to Go.
Yeah.
But like if they did that in a legit Pokemon game, like a 3DS game, I would be pissed off.
Right.
Because you're taking away that you're taking away the grind, which is what those games are all about.
And I think the biggest problems in the industry right now, the biggest people who are guilty of this would be EA and Ubisoft, obviously, since their 51% profit is from it.
But everybody, you know, the thing is just everybody's taking note of that. And now you have like 2K's like, oh yeah, it's going to be on all of our, or Take-Two, excuse me. They're like, oh yeah, it's going to be on all our games now. So I think about something like BioShock, and I'm like, I don't want that in a BioShock
I also think about
game.
like how well have Amiibos sold? That's essentially microtransactions, the Nintendo Amiibos.
Yeah, you know what? Those are forgivable though, for some reason.
Yeah,
to me, those are forgivable because at least they're a collector's item.
It is a little thing you can like put it on your table. It looks nice. But,
yeah.
I mean, essentially,
it is true. It is true, and Nintendo's going on that too. I mean, like they have their fair share of DLC. I mean, Zelda we saw this year get DLC for the first time in the entire franchise's history. Yeah. So
Super Mario Run.
Exactly. That just paints the point, or it just makes the point more clear that this is becoming a much more bigger thing than it used to be. So my question to you guys real quick, we're going to end the show with a little bit of trivia, because otherwise we're just going to be depressed the entire time talking about
I'll say one good thing about it. How's that?
Okay.
So I was thinking about this after reading about the Take-Two stuff, and I was kind of depressed a little bit. You know, it's sad.
Look at my wallet.
We're kind of going that way.
Sure.
But then I'm thinking about it, and I think about like how successful like GTA Online is, and how much I'm looking forward to like Red Dead. And like I really like the first Red Dead's online. It was like there were some things that could have been better, but it was like pretty interesting. I'm really looking forward to like Red Dead's next online, and because it's like they know they're gonna make so much profit from it, they're just gonna pump as much resources into that online infrastructure as it can. So it's like I'm like super excited for the story, but then I'm so excited to just put like hundreds of hours into some sort of like online mode where I'm like robbing banks with like my crew.
Yeah, if it is,
I'm super excited because they know they can make money off of it. So it's like, of course it's going to be, they're going to make it huge. So it's like, there is like that side of things where it's like, as long as, obviously they're a business, they got to make money.
Yeah.
If they know they can make a lot of money making these really vast, like open world, like online games, and it's like, you know,
And I think
the problem is though. Sorry to interrupt you, but the problem is like when companies start to use microtransactions as a crutch.
Right.
That and like to basically compensate. It's like, this game could be better, but you have to pay
and we should clarify. Yes, that is if a company does that where they make half a game and you're like, you make half a game and it's like, oh, you want to buy the rest?
Literally half a game. Battlefront did that. They gave you like 3 maps and they're like, but if you want more, $80.
Right.
Like, are you fucking
So it's like
kidding
it's
me?
things like that and things like pay to win, which is the problem.
Yeah.
DLC and microtransactions aren't inherently bad. Like DLC for some games is amazing. Like for the first Red Dead, there was the zombie thing.
And BioShock had great DLC too.
And Zelda had DLC. So like there's an art to this.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
just
people need to do it.
Right. It's the crutching
the microtransactions
thing.
though, because I don't think DLC counts because you're buying content that's actually going to spend hours.
I mean,
you're true.
To me, it's like it's all the same because you bought your game and now you're paying extra for that game.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all under the same umbrella. So it's just like, unless it's you get half a game and if you want the rest of it, you buy it, or you want to win better without going through the grind, you pay for it. That's the bad. And the good is the
story content.
I think Red Dead will do it right. Like Rockstar will do it right because it's like GTA 5. Yeah, GTA 5 I think probably did it right. Would you agree, Nathan? No? A topic for another day.
Sum up in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of really fun stuff with it. But it's really complicated the way they did it and rolled it out and changed it. A lot was like the way it came out right at the beginning affected then how fun it was at the time.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, I guess my question now to you guys. to see how you guys hate and are have enough vehement opinions about microtransactions. How well do you know the history of microtransactions?
I don't know.
So we're going to start from big to small.
All right.
The company that decided to capitalize on this business model.
I'm gonna go
DLC?
with
microtransactions.
I'm gonna say it was probably
It's a huge company.
I'm gonna say probably Activision with Call of Duty. That's my guess.
Think bigger. I'll
think bigger. The world.
Let's think the big three.
Oh, like Sony, Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Well, I would say Microsoft.
You are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. Microsoft were the first people to fucking start utilizing that and milking gamers for everything that they're worth, and we still see it today. Okay, so the second question is...
But with which game?
Exactly, that's my second question.
Oh, okay. So,
what is it?
Yeah.
I would assume, if it's Microsoft, I'm assuming it's probably one of the Halo games.
Yeah, I was going to say Halo.
That'd be my guess.
Is it not Halo? Okay, it's not Halo?
I'll give you the year.
Viva Pinata.
I'll give you the year that the game was released. It was back in 2006.
2006.
So
maybe Gears then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Gears of War.
Oblivion. Bethesda's Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Really?
Was the first game to have microtransactions on consoles. Now, my question, we're going to go smaller.
That's not an Xbox thing.
It's not, but Microsoft, they worked in tandem. Like, Microsoft, it was first introduced not on the PC version, but on the Xbox 360 version.
Oh, really?
Through Xbox Live Marketplace, absolutely.
Wow.
Now, the very first microtransaction that was done in the game, we'll do two, all right? We'll do two here. You can guess how much it was, and you can also guess what you were buying. What the
for
actual
Oblivion?
For Oblivion.
Oh, jeez.
It's a difficult question. I don't expect you guys... I wouldn't be able to answer this one because I had never played that fucking game.
Yeah, no, I'm not...
I played it. When I played it, I didn't even know there was, DLC or microtransactions for it.
Because we were so naive then.
Yeah.
It was a better time.
Yeah, it was. I missed the mid-2000s.
So what items...
It's just one item.
There's probably just some, super dope sword of some sort.
The Sword of 1,000 Truths.
Sword of 1,000 Truths. Actually, no. It was horse armor.
Horse armor?
Armor for your horse, gold-plated horse armor, or silver if you chose so.
$5?
For $2.99.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
I bet they raked in that. People just love Oblivion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once that happened, they're like, okay.
So we just made $299 million
to make a horse gold.
This is our gold horse. If you really think about it. Holy fuck! It was such a ironic thing. That was a foreshadowing if you've ever seen one.
It's the Trojan horse.
Yeah, they snuck in. They took all our money.
It's always
guys.
a horse, man. Batman forever.
Batman forever. Batman forever. All right. Well, that's the show for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate your eyes on our faces and your ears on our lips.
That was good.
I like it, yeah. I appreciate, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said before, we have to also send a special thank you to DJ CUTMAN for his amazing chiptune music. You can check out more of his awesome stuff on his website, which is djcutman.com, and his SoundCloud. You
and
also... Huh?
He also has a Patreon.
Yeah, we also have a Patreon too.
We do.
You can check out our Patreon page, like I said before, and get extra content there, and even just have your eyes on it. It'll be super good, super nice, super good. You can also follow Multiplayer and all the things that we have talked about today, all the links for those things and articles, and some behind-the-scenes stuff on our Twitter and Instagram page at GoMultiplayer. And you can follow us personally. Mine specifically, my Instagram is at Guillermo_Dorado, and on Twitter it's at Masdorado. Zach? Take it away.
At Zach Matzganis, ZACKMATZGANIS. Boom.
It's sweet every time. Every time. Javier, bring it down.
At Multiplayer Huff. That's it. This Multiplayer Huff.
It's such a weird dynamic, It's just like da-da-da-da-da. Multiplayer Huff.
And we always just end it with just That's the end of our shows.
We also have Nathan behind the camera today. He is at Multiplayer NAF, the best name that
Redfield.
we have. It's Redfern. But, Redfield maybe. We also have he's our PC, resident PC gamer. We also have our resident Xbox gamer, who is Mick Wood, and he is on Instagram and Twitter at MickToTheWood. So, thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. Every Thursday we got a new episode for you. So we'll see you at the Respawn. Keep on grinding.
Later.
And we love you, Ninja Turtles.
On behalf of Multiplayer, Mario would like to send a special thank you to Jaden Lawrence, Arturo Mendera, Mercedan Kroll Pitaru, and Mario Dorado. Thank you so much for watching.